In the past, football was considered a sport reserved for street children, but in the era of football as a lucrative business, high stakes have taken precedence over the spectacle on the field. Nowadays, player transfers are negotiated at pharaonic sums. We have listed for you the most expensive footballer deals in football history. Before we get started, we want to share the sponsor of today's video. The OneFootball app is the ultimate football platform and is a must-have for every football fan, so that you can follow all of your favourite leagues, teams and players all the time right from your phone. You can be sure to turn on notifications for specific players, to be instantly alerted when they score a goal or when they are involved in other breaking news. It's the best and easiest way to stay up to date with everything football. Click the link in the description down below to download the app right now. You won't regret it. Neymar. A major participant in the remontada inflicted by Barca on PSG in the Champions League, Neymar Jr. had impressed football observers. His performances were remarkable on the pitch. He was gaining importance within the Catalan team. But the leaders of the Blaugrana club were far from imagining that a club would come to lift the release clause of the player, fixed at €222 million. And as if to take revenge for their heavy defeat, who better than PSG to come and recruit the Brazilian? At the end of a soap opera with twists and turns, the number 10 of the Brazilian national side arrived at PSG on August 2nd, 2017. The Ile-de-France club paid the release clause and secured the services of Neymar Jr. This is still the most expensive transfer in the history of football. Kylian Bappe. Young French prodigy Kylian Bappe distinguished himself in the Champions League and impressed many clubs, but following the divorce of the owner of AS Monaco, it was necessary to sell players to generate cash. This is how AS Monaco put Kylian on the transfer market. But very early on, the amount of the transfer cooled many clubs, and there were only Real Madrid and PSG left. In the end, it is the club from the French capital which managed to attract the player. But to prevent PSG from falling on the wrong side of financial fair play, the operation had to be done in the form of a loan with an option to buy. The transfer amount was estimated at €180 million, making Mbappe the most expensive French player in history. Coutinho. After a stint in Serie A at Inter Milan, Philippe Coutinho settled down with Liverpool. In Liverpool, the Brazilian had excellent seasons and even became, in a few years, a player much adored by the demanding fans. He'd become a highly coveted player for many European clubs, but it was finally Barca who broke the bank to attract the Brazilian for an amount of €135 million. But the player will not succeed in imposing himself. After being loaned to Bayern, then to Aston Villa, he was finally transferred to the Villains in May 2022. Joao Felix. Following Antoine Griezmann's departure to Barca, the Colchoneros were looking for a replacement. It was finally on July 3rd, 2019 that Atletico Madrid signed Joao Felix for an amount of €120 million. Considered as the successor to Cristiano Ronaldo, the young forward is quite the mercurial talent and has started showcasing more consistency. With this transfer amount, Felix crossed CR7 and became the most expensive Portuguese player in history. Antoine Griezmann. On July 11th, 2019, Barca paid the sum of Antoine Griezmann's release clause. This transfer shocked many people in Catalonia, since most of them thought that the Frenchman would find it hard to understand the Barca way of football. And they were not wrong, because in 2 seasons spent in Catalonia, the World Cup winner never got going. In debt and almost on the brink of financial abyss, Barcelona had to return the Frenchman to Atletico Madrid in order to reduce their payroll, and it appears that Camp Nou's doors are no longer open for him. Jack Grealish. A revelation at Aston Villa, Jack Grealish moved to Manchester City in 2021 for €117 million. Pep Guardiola had set his sights on the player for his quality to make the difference in one-on-one situations, and his ability to make something out of nothing. With this amount, Grealish became both the most expensive English player of all time and the footballer with the most expensive transfer fee in the Premier League. Lukaku. Crowned with the title of Italian champion with Inter Milan, Romelu Lukaku against all odds decided to sign for Chelsea for €115 million. The cumulative sum of the transfer transaction is estimated at around €327 million, which makes it the most expensive of all time. But the Belgian striker's love affair with the Blues was cut short. After a thunderous start to the season, the Belgian suffered an injury. Upon his return, he struggled to regain his original form and would then be left on the sidelines. The Belgian didn't like that and even made a statement regarding his love for Inter, something that did not sit well with his coach Thomas Tuchel. Battered and bruised, the burly striker is back in Italy. Paul Pogba. Trained in Le Havre before joining Manchester United's academy, Paul Pogba signed for Juventus in 2012. After 4 seasons in Serie A where he shone, he impressed many clubs, including Manchester United. After leaving through the back door, the midfielder returned to Old Trafford for £105 million. But the fruits will not keep the promise of the flowers, since Paul Pogba failed in England and never really got going. A lot of it was due to poor management and constant interference from his late agent Mino Raiola. Cristiano Ronaldo. Following the elimination of Portugal in the round of 16 of the World Cup, Cristiano Ronaldo left Real Madrid and signed for Juve for £100 million, a resounding transfer since the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner was 34 years old. Having become a legend at Real Madrid by being the club's top scorer with 450 goals, CR7 also won 4 Champions Leagues with the Madrid club. He was recruited by Juventus to win the Champions League, which has eluded them since 1996. However, Ronaldo will not have the same success in Turin. He returned to Manchester United in the summer transfer window in 2021 and could be on his way again, if a club is willing to sign him, that is. Eden Hazard. After some really amazing seasons in the capital of London, Eden Hazard ended up joining Real Madrid in the summer of 2019. Landed in the Spanish capital out of shape, the Belgian player was injured quickly. For 2 years, he has not succeeded in imposing himself. Vinicius Jr. has passed him in the hierarchy of left wingers. The Belgian was not essential in Real Madrid's latest Champions League triumph. Despite his status as a substitute, Eden Hazard decided to continue the adventure with Real Madrid and fight to regain his best level. However, we do have our doubts.